You buy a car. Nothing special. A 1995 Honda Civic with 180,000 miles, one working window, and a check engine light that has been on for so long, it's basically part of the interior design. You paid $1,800 for it? The guy who sold it to you said it ran great. The guy who sold it to you was lying. You don't know this yet. You are happy. This is the last time you will be simply happy about a car for the rest of your life. You think buying the car is the expensive part. It isn't. The car is just the entry fee. What comes after the car is the actual cost, and nobody tells you this at the beginning because if they did, nobody would begin. You watch one YouTube video about cold air intakes, then another, then a third, then a 6-part series on engine theory by a man in a garage in Ohio who talks like he's narrating a nature documentary about carburetors. You watch it at 1.5x speed because regular speed is no longer fast enough for your brain. You buy a cold air intake. You install it yourself, which takes 4 hours and involves a flashlight held between your teeth and 2 bolts you will never find again. You look for those bolts once a week for the next 6 months. They are gone. They are simply gone. The car sounds different now, angrier. You drive it to a gas station and rev it twice in the parking lot, alone, for no one. This is the beginning. You don't know it yet, but this is it. Welcome to level 1. The car makes a sound now. That's it. That's the whole achievement. But it's something. You go to your first car meet. You park next to a Mitsubishi Eclipse with a body kit, underglow, and a sound system that is technically louder than the engine. You think it's the coolest thing you've ever seen in your life. You will think about this judgment later with the specific embarrassment reserved for old photographs of yourself. You start talking to people, car people, people who use words like boost and torque and dyno in casual conversation the way other people say traffic or weather. You don't understand 80% of what they say? You nod anyway. This will continue for approximately 2 years. Someone looks under your hood. They look at your cold air intake. They nod slowly, the way a doctor nods when something is wrong, but they're deciding how to phrase it. It's a start, they say. It's a start. You will hear this 18 more times before it stops stinging. You spend your next 3 paychecks on parts. Suspension, exhaust, a set of wheels that costs more than the car itself. Your friends ask if you're okay. You tell them you're investing. You are not investing. You are absolutely not investing. The car is worth less every time you touch it, financially speaking, and yet it is worth more to you every time you touch it. And these 2 facts exist simultaneously, and you have decided to stop thinking about it. Something changes. You stop seeing cars as transportation. You see them as problems. Every car you pass on the highway is a question. What's the power to weight? What's the cam profile? What's the compression? You cannot turn this off. It has replaced the part of your brain that used to think about things like grocery lists and sleep. You go to a track day for the first time, an actual track with timing gates and corner workers and people who look like they've been doing this since before you were old enough to drive. You are not ready. You go anyway. The first 2 sessions are humbling in the clean, honest way that only happens when reality is significantly different from what you imagined. You are slow. You are inconsistent. You brake too early and too late on alternate corners, which is impressive in its own way. On your 4th lap of the 3rd session, on a sweeping left-hander that looks easy from the outside, you get it wrong. You're going slightly too fast, you turn in slightly too early, and the rear of the car starts to step out. Not dramatically, just enough. The wall gets closer in a way that is very focused and very specific, and your hands do something before your brain decides to do it, and the car comes back. You come into the pits. You sit in the car for 3 minutes without getting out. You are replaying those 4 seconds in a loop. The instructor knocks on the window. Good save, he says. You nod. You don't trust your voice enough to use it. You go back out anyway. Not because you're brave, because sitting in the paddock wondering what would have happened if you hadn't saved it is a worse feeling than going back out. You get faster, slowly, the kind of faster that only shows up on a timing sheet in tenths of seconds, in the way the instructor starts saying fewer things on each lap because there are fewer things to correct. You meet a mechanic at the track who looks at your engine and tells you 3 things you did correctly, 4 things you did wrong, and 1 thing that is actively dangerous that you were completely unaware of. You fix the dangerous thing immediately. You write everything else in a notebook. You don't show the notebook to anyone. The notebook grows. You start sleeping worse. Not dramatically, just enough to notice. Your brain replays corners at 1 a.m. the way other people replay arguments they lost. The specific moment before a braking zone. The feeling of the car at the limit. You start to understand that this isn't a problem. It means you care enough to lose sleep over it. Your daily driver is also your project car and also your track car. This means it is theoretically 3 things and practically none of them particularly well. It overheats once in regular traffic on a Tuesday. You fix it in a parking lot with a zip tie and leftover coolant from a gas station while wearing work clothes. The car breaks down on the highway on a Saturday morning. Not dramatically. It just quietly stops making power and coasts to the shoulder, the way something does when it's been asked to do more than it was designed for, long enough that it's decided to say something about it. You sit there for a moment, you think about calling someone, you think about what they would say, you don't call, you walk to an auto parts store 2 miles away, diagnose the problem from memory, buy the parts, walk back, fix the car on the shoulder in 40 minutes with traffic going past. You drive the rest of the way to the track. You are 45 minutes late. You tell no one what happened. Nobody asks. This is also something you understand now, without anyone having to explain it. Car people don't ask what happened on the way there, because they all have their own version of what happened on the way there, and none of them want to talk about it either. You build a second car, not because you need one. You can barely maintain the first one financially, but because the first one is almost finished, and you genuinely don't know who you are when a project is finished. You buy something with a blown engine from a guy who seems relieved to see it leave his driveway. You rebuild the engine yourself. This takes 5 months, 2 broken knuckles across multiple separate incidents, 1 extended argument with a torque specification that turned out to be in Newton meters, not foot-pounds, and approximately 300 hours of reference material. The first time it starts, you sit in the garage alone and listen to it for 30 minutes. You don't go anywhere. You just sit there. This makes complete sense to you and would make no sense to anyone else, and you've stopped trying to bridge that gap. You go to a regional event, real competition, real drivers with real data, and real lap times posted on a real leaderboard at the end of the day. You qualify in the middle of the field. You run cleaner laps than you've ever run. You finish where you qualified, which is not where you wanted to finish and exactly where you needed to be, because the cars ahead of you are showing you something specific. Here is exactly what more looks like. Here is exactly how much gap there is to close. You are 31 seconds off the leader's pace. You drive home in silence, doing the math in your head, identifying corners. By the time you pull into your driveway, you've already planned the next 3 months of development. You go back. You keep going back. You make the podium at the 9th regional event, 3rd place, on a track you've run 22 times, in a car you've rebuilt twice, and you stand on that podium in front of maybe 50 people and feel something you don't have a precise word for. Not triumph exactly. More like confirmation. A tire company reaches out. A parts company. Small contingency programs that cover entry fees and costs. You realize, looking at your car, that you're already running parts from the same company that just emailed you to ask if you'd like to work together. You were running their parts before they knew your name. That means something. You're not sure what yet, but it means something. The national event paddock is a different world. There are enclosed trailers, teams with matching shirts, tire warmers and data engineers, and people who do this for a living in the way that you do your job for a living. You arrive with your car on an open trailer, your tools in a rolling cabinet, and a cooler with food you probably won't have time to eat. You feel, for about 10 minutes, like you're in the wrong place. Then you put on your helmet, and you go out for qualifying. And none of it matters, not the matching shirts, or the enclosed trailers, or the tire warmers, because the track doesn't know about any of that. The track just has corners. and corners only care about how well you've learned them. You qualify 14th. You finish 9th. You eat a gas station sandwich in the paddock because you forgot to pack real food, which is a thing you do now, apparently. You look back at the Civic sometimes. The $1,800 one with the one working window and the permanent check engine light and the previous owner who said it ran great. You don't laugh at that version of you. He was standing in a gas station parking lot, revving a cold air intake for absolutely no one, feeling like he'd done something. He had. He didn't know what yet. The check engine light, by the way, still on. Different car, same light, same orange glow on the dashboard like a small stubborn reminder of where this started and what it cost and the fact that you'd do it all again. Somewhere right now, someone just bought their first car. It's probably overpriced for what it is. It probably has a check engine light. They just watched their first YouTube video about cold air intakes and they're thinking, this might be the start of something. They're right. They have absolutely no idea how right they are. So, whatever level you're at right now, whatever build is half finished in your garage, whatever lap time feels impossibly out of reach. That's the whole video. If this describes your own journey a little too accurately, let me know in the comments which level you're stuck at right now.